Hi, it's Jamie. As promised, I'm going to show you more about the circle templates and how to use them. So I'm going to have two videos on this. One is just going to show how to use them as a template and a mask. And then the other one I'm going to show is how to use them in my mold making for things. To get started, this is what the package looks like. And it's $1 or $1.25 at the dollar store, and it's meant to be a balloon measurement tool. So what's really cool though is they just have different various sizes, and they're in very light stenciled kind of cutout areas on the form. It has the measurement on it. So mind you, that's the measurement for the interior of the circle edge, not the outside. If you take a look at the circles now laid out, you can see that there's approximately a ½ inch between each one going down. So I think that makes it really nice for a masking feature if you want to introduce textures in circle form. So the first way of using them as a template, I think, is pretty self-explanatory. I don't think we need to go over that. Simply, you know, this would lay on a piece of clay and then you would cut it out. The other cool thing is if you have existing pottery and you want to know sections about things, you can get an MKM tool and mark out where all the slices would be, or the coordinates, like a quarter or a third or an eighth, and then put it over your piece to mark it up. So that's kind of a cool thing to use it for too. But today I'm going to show you, and it's going to be inherent in showing you the masking as using it as a template as well. So let's get started. So I'm going to show you a very simple use of the circles. This is the template that I want. This is my overall size. So I'm just going to put the smaller template in the middle and the larger template around, and then I'm going to take away this, and I feel like this moved a little bit, so let me get that back into shape. That looks fine. And now what I'm going to do is use one of my favorite texturing tools, and this is called mulberry paper, and let's just see how that works. So what I'm going to do is just roll around this section here. I'm going to leave my hand in the middle because I don't want to go over the line of the circle. So I'm doing a little peekaboo thing where I'm pulling back some of the paper and then I'm seeing that I need to roll harder in some areas. Alright, so I did get a little bit of the paper texture here. I'm just going to clean that away, and then I'm going to take this off. You know what? I'm not going to take this. Yeah, I am going to take this off. Alright, so I see a little bit of texture in here from the roll, so that just cleaned up smoothly. And now I'm going to place back my original texture on top, or template I should say, and now I'm going to cut out. Now I have a beautifully rimmed bowl, and I'm just going to use the sheet here to smooth the corners. Sometimes I use a plastic sheet. Tending to the back side. For this press, I'm going to use this circle here, and this is something I just made. It is, I'm going to give you the measurement. I want to say 7. 6. So that's a 6-inch square, and I'm pressing 6 inches with a 10-inch circle. And let me show you what you can do if you don't, since you don't have that probably. This is the box that inspired me to make this size. So this comes from Doris, and you can find it in any craft store. So if I were going to use this, I would place a sheet of plastic, dry cleaner, and then press down and use it. But since I have my plaster version, I don't need to do that. So we'll show the more complex one coming up here in a second and the results. All right, I'm back. I've prepared my clay. What you see here is about a 1/4 inch slab of sculpture raku clay. It's like a blonde clay with lots of grog. And this is where we're going to start. So I've decided my outer ring is going to be a little bit bigger than the template. This is a matte, it's pressed vinyl. And I found it actually at Walmart, of all places. So I'm going to use that as my first layer of texture, along with the matte. So first thing I'm going to do here is just get an idea of where this is. So I'm just going to roll the outside in, and maybe this inside ring. I really don't want to add any more texture other than this layer around here. So first I'm just seeing where that outside circle is so I can place my template. So of the circles, I'm going to use the largest one first. And I'm just going to center that on here. That looks good. The beauty of this mat that I have here is that I can see through it. So I can see right here that I'm off a little bit. So maybe instead of rearranging the whole underside, I'm just going to line it up visually here. Okay, I think that looks really good. That's pretty close to my original. It's just off a little bit here. And now I get to really press. So one thing to note is when I press this in, I press down the shiny side down because I feel like this is the poofier side and that's going to make more of an impression. So it looks like I had clay on here from a previous press. So I'm just going to scrape that off the middle there. And I'm going to remove my first template. All right, so the next size down, I think I'm going to skip that one. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to keep this little guy. So this is going to give me about a 1/2 inch of texture around the rim here. So with that in place, I'm just going to take my roller and I'm going to use it to guide this roller all the way around. Like this transition so much. Let's see if I can do something about that. Okay, that looks a little better. So one of the things that you need to be mindful of when you're planning this out is knowing what opening you want. This here is the mold that I'm going to use to press in, and I've already determined that I like this size for this press shape. This press shape is also made from the dollar store. I got this garden dish for $1.25. So what's kind of cool about this dish is that it's all smooth on this side too, so you don't actually have to pour plaster. You could just press this. It's not very strong, mind you, so you might get 3 or 4 of them to press in, and then of course it's plastic, so you'd have to use another sheet of plastic over it for the press. But I just simply poured plaster into it, and now I have a lovely press. So this is the size, this outer ring is what I want to use for the press. And that leaves me this little bit to decorate here. So this is my guide. If the bigger circle had been, large enough, I could have just put that out there and had, then I would have a section of protected space around here. I don't have that because I chose this size, but you have so many circle templates that you can use to create, you know, a barrier. And after I do this press, I will show you what I mean in more detail. Well, I lucked out with that one. I kind of slowed down towards the end to see if I need to squeeze more or space out more, but that worked out well. Okay, so what I was talking about earlier is, let's say I wanted to do one more layer in here. One of the things that I could do is, I know that this is the size that I want, but let's say I want to do one more down. I'm going to come back with my big template and put it down. And then I'm going to find a template that, like this, for example. And let's say I just wanted to repeat that or find another stamp. That would be fun. See, now I have a protected area for which to decorate. So I could even take a piece of fabric or a sheet of texture and put it over this place and roll it in. For example, if I want to come back to my original guy and stick this in there. All right, so where it would hit would be like right this line here. That to me is not exciting, so I'm not going to do it. So I'm just going to find one of my little stamps here and go about putting those in. Okay, so looking at this design overall right now, I'm pleased with it. The only thing that I maybe would have done differently is, I think I like the bigger circles here and the smaller circles here. That's it. I'm just going to stick this back on to help guide my cut. What I'm deciding here is I want to be closer to this texture on the edge than to have a space. So I'm just going to take that little space off. So I purposely started this process on a little bit of sheet so I can make flipping onto the foam an easier process. This is going to hang over the foam a teeny bit, but I don't think that will be a problem. Before I detach from the sheet, I'm just going to do the same process that I did above it with the plastic and just smoothing the edges. Looks like I have a little bit of a crease from the board, and I'm just going to smooth that out. It'll smooth out better after I do the press. One of the nice things about having this split foam is what I'm doing here. For press. What I'm doing is I'm making sure it looks equal all the way around before I actually press. This size is usually a couple inches bigger than what I normally do with this mold, but I was excited to use the entirety of the vinyl placemat. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to let this set up on the mold itself. So because this goes beyond the shape of the mold, I'm going to go get a wooden platform for it to sit on while it shapes up. So we'll come back with the reveal after it firms up. All right, I think we're ready for the reveal of this one. So you can see here I had a block and it just sat on here upside down to give it elevation. All right, as you can see, I can bend this still. It's not completely set up, but that's perfect because I wanted to flare out the sides more. Now I can take this out. And there is my finished product. So this has been fun using the circles. It's for $1.25 or $1, I don't know, it depends on, I forget. Anyways, it's either $1 or $1.25. You can make your own series of layered textures. Just a reminder, I think when I was talking about this guy here, I mentioned it was a 10 circle. That was a 10 across. This actually is, what is this one? Well, I can measure again. So they're labeled for the insides of their openings. So this one is a 7 on the inside and a 10 all the way across. All right, so that's it. Hope you enjoy the circles. I hope you go get some. And I'll be back next time where I show you the circles as part of a mold system. All right, catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.